Problem 88 says, for all values of x, the continuous function f is positive and decreasing. Let g be the function defined as g of x is the integral from 2 to x of f of t dt. Which of the following could be a table of values for g? Okay, so I'm going to think graphically for this one. I'm going to think about a function that for f, I'm going to draw f here, and I'm going to draw it so that it's positive and decreasing, and it says for all values of x, so it's like negative infinity to infinity type thing. And so the picture that I would draw would basically be like a exponential decay type graph, because I don't know how else you could have something that's always decreasing, yet always at least a little bit positive, all the way from negative infinity to infinity. So, so you've got, this is the graph of f, and this is the t-axis, essentially. And then, since the lower bound of g is 2, I'm just going to mark where like maybe 2 would be. And then basically g is going to accumulate these y coordinates, so starting at 2 and going to whatever x value you put in. So one thing, I hope it makes sense, that g of 2, since it would just put a 2 here and here, it makes sense that every time you put 2 in, they always give you 0 out, since that would have been the area, you know, known as that little stick there, and there's really no area to that little stick. So, you know, unfortunately you can't rule anything out that way, but it does help you kind of get started with processing what's being said here. Next, I hope it makes sense that, see how they're putting 1 in? So if you put 1 in for x, then that would have your integral going from 2 to 1, so it would have it be going like backwards essentially. And so since the integral from 1 to 2 would be something positive, I hope it makes sense that the integral from 2 to 1 would be something negative. And so you could rule out, just based on that, you could rule options C, D, and E out, because you should get a negative number for g of 1. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, so now we're down to these two, and so let's look at the difference. So the integral from 1 to 2, according to this, you would have gained 2 units, if that makes sense. So 2 units of area in going from 1 to 2. And so and then when you go from 2 to 3, you would have gained just 1, which to me is believable, because if you gain 2 here, you would gain less here since the graph is decreasing. And then option B, on the interval from 1 to 2, you gained 2 units. So like this would have an area of 2 right there. But then on the interval from 2 to 3, you would have gained 3 units, which doesn't make sense to me because the graph was decreasing, so this should be less than this. And so for that reason, I would rule B out. And it's basically based on that jump right there compared to that jump. So I would rule 8 in. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, I think I'm going to give myself a second to think about problem 89 and do that one in the next video.